I got to ask you just about that whole council scene when, obviously, the guys come back and you're just like, you got a lot of fucking explaining to do. Like, how intense was that filming that? And like, how long did it take? I mean,
We did what we did to save the Tong. Because if we keep doing things his way, the Long Z and the Feng Hai will own us within a year.
That is singularly the most intense scene I've ever filmed in any film or television show.
Right.
A lot of it was because it took all day.
Right.
It took all day to film that scene. And then this, I was screaming a lot, all day. I started to lose my voice by the end of it, because it's take after take and you got to nail it. And you're wondering, you have to give it all you got, because this is it. This is that moment
Right.
that the 2 seasons have built up to, what's going to happen, So we tried it in different ways. Obviously, as you shoot, you're going to try things differently to see how it reads on camera. And as you're trying it, you have to give it your full in order to know whether it's going to work or not. So I can't hold back on my voice. I can't hold back on my emotions because you don't know if that particular camera, that particular setup, relationship's going to work until you do it live. So by the time the day was over, I had no voice, and emotionally I was wrecked because every time they said action, I have to be again at my wit's end, You don't pretend that stuff,
Yeah, and at that point, Father Jun is furious. He's just He's just ready. He's like, dude, it's like enough of this. He's like, obviously found out that they're doing their opium thing on the side. He's like totally pissed.
And I could tell you, they didn't choose the scenes that really went out there, where Father Jun really went over the top and broke down and flipped out and seething and spit flying everywhere and all that stuff, It was too much.
Scenes. deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, hopefully when they release it.
Somehow they had to contain it, so that it can go to the next scene.
From season 1, Father Jun is always stepping in to as that final kind of nail. Like, wait, whoa, we didn't do this. This is traditional. So I know you remember when you had that scene with the Sam was like, you know what? I didn't do this right. I didn't initiate you. And you got that scene where you break out the tonfa or the crutch and you put it down on him. Did you, was that all you two? Was that the stunt coordinators? Like, I know that he's definitely got some padding on as you're doing that, but just like, how does that kind of work?
Yeah, that was the same thing. When I said earlier that the episode 7 was the most difficult thing I've ever filmed, I would say that was second.
Okay.
Because of I had just flown in from New York to shoot that in Cape Town, so there was a 12-hour difference in time or something like. I think maybe it was 6-hour difference in time. So anyway, it would have been in the middle of the night, for me.
Right.
That's yeah. And so my brain was just not working. I was jet lagged, and there was physical, and then I didn't have that particular Tongfa weapon, which was a dummy weapon with a softer handle. And in the Tongfa, the wooden one, you could actually swing quite nicely because the grip is slippery.
Yep.
You could swing it. With the dummy they made, there was a rubber grip, so it didn't swing. And so I was wrestling with the swinging, the lines. I'm jet lagged, and then after several takes, that rubber ripped some skin in my thumb. And so they had to constantly address the ripped skin. Is it bleeding? Is it showing on camera? That's getting in my way of this
swinging
zone of work. Yeah. And so, but it's great. You get into the zone and they just, the thing is you're doing it right. But the camera, Lonnie, the director, was great. He had this really sophisticated camera move that went in circles and stuff like that. I don't know if you remember.
I love that.
So it's we had to time it, everything I do. So I can't really change what I do, but the camera people have to sense what they're doing and time what they're filming, because that's the art for them. Capture the right composition with the right energy, with the right swing as it's happening. So we're repeating it over and over just for the cameras. Sometimes that happens. So you get tired and you're doing your job. But the camera people, because of whatever reasons, it takes 5 people on the camera. They're not all coordinated at the same time sometimes, just because one person's stepping wrong, or whatever. You got to do it again. It was a perfect take, but you got to do it again. I mean, it was,
Yeah, because it's intense, and you guys, you pull it off well, and it's just listen, you're gonna bow down. He's like, take your hand away. It's I know you can fight. But you got to take this. You got to take this ass whooping.
That was another one of the scenes that took all night to film. It's over 12 hours to film, and it's just, and you get tired, know?
Yeah, because you got to
So-
swing and make it look like you're really,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, and then your lines have to be fresh, it's like you said it for the first time and all this kind of stuff,